Warning! The following video contains scenes of severe model building ugliness. You may witness expanding foam, ugly seams, questionable craftsmanship, and other disturbing acts committed in the name of scale modeling. Some viewers may find these images deeply upsetting. Viewer discretion is advised. You have officially been warned. Thank you.
The men who sent us on this journey are long since dead and gone. You who are reading me now, different breed. I hope a better one.
It's a madhouse! A madhouse!
It is a madhouse around here, y'all, and I think I'm mad for building this thing, but I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna try my hand at it, this is a 40-inch Planet of the Apes Icarus, or Liberty One, whichever you want to call it. Let's look at the size of this thing. I know the tape is really ugly. It's really ugly looking, making it look really ugly, but you gotta understand, I gotta keep it together. I gotta, this thing's dry fitted, so, and the only way to really keep this thing together at this point is just to tape it up and make it look real ugly. It's not gonna be on there long, but the way this thing keys in, it's like a bunch of blocks kind of connected to each other in the little sockets. It's kind of like where everything's just connected to everything, so if you take one part apart, everything else is gonna pretty much fall apart. So I really want to thank Anthony Pinocchio, man. I want to thank you so very much for printing this thing out for me. He printed this thing out for me, y'all, and he did a fantastic job, and I know that must have been a job to print this thing out. He also printed out that big Jupiter 2 diorama thing back there that you see. I'm just kind of sitting here mind blown about this, and I forgot to welcome you to the channel. Thank you so much for watching. Welcome to the Vantage Model channel, y'all. Welcome to the journey, this huge journey that we have got ahead of us, is this thing, which is a lot of challenging stuff that I got to do, a lot of scratch building stuff, a lot of modifications and things like that. And this build is going to be no joke. This is no joke. It may take us all the way through the year. We'll see. I'm not really sure yet, but it does need a lot of tender love and care to make it come out as beautifully as it needs to come out. If you are a collector and you have the Wilco Models version of the Planet of the Apes Icarus or Liberty One, this is one which I have right here that I built a while back. The nose cone could be the body of this Wilco Icarus, which is 12 inches long. I think the nose cone is just about perfect to be the body for this thing. So this thing is huge. Let's get to checking this thing out and get it going so we can get to working and building on this thing. Alright, so a real quick look at the things I've got for this model. I've pretty much got everything I need except the colors, which I can definitely get those anytime very easily, but this is pretty much all I'm going to be using that I pretty much need right now. So first thing is, I got plenty of filler primer. I think this will probably just about enough, and I'm probably going to use this more than filler primer. I've never used this stuff before. XTC-3D. It's a brush-on coat for 3D printed parts. It's a coat that you put on 3D printed parts, especially for stuff like this, to kind of help with the filament print, to fill that in. Also, it helps with durability too, like if you have a little bit thinner parts. I don't know if you could see that giving just a little bit, but this is giving just a little bit, and it kind of helps give it rigidity. So I'm going to be trying this stuff out and seeing how this works. It's going to be pretty interesting. So this is going to be kind of an experimental test for this. And I've got this great stuff, window and door frame, yellow foam, no bowing, low expansion pressure stuff, because since this thing is hollow, but it does have supports inside it. You might can see them. You might can see this a few supports, but I've seen videos on YouTube where gentlemen have used this stuff, made several holes inside of the model to fill in those little areas, and it makes the print stronger, more durable. Like if I set this thing out in the sun, this thing would probably collapse within 30 minutes of 80 to 90 degree heat. So I would need something to kind of really give this thing durability, and this window foam I think will do it, which we'll get into on this video in just a little bit. But I've got that there, more on that later. And then I've got, really quickly, this is 6mm tape that I'm going to be using for all of
my striping. You got red and blue striping here, and I also got some stripes right here. Also, I have got some of these wordings. As you can see, you got the United States right here engraved. I'm gonna fill all that in, and I'm gonna use these decals right here, which come from k4decals.com. I couldn't find the exact length for these words, but I did find these. It's 1/2 is the closest I could find, so 1/2 tall. So these are definitely gonna work out just fine, and I'm so glad that K4 decals has all this stuff readily available, because I don't know what I would do without stuff like this. I was gonna use these flags, these United States flags, for these fins right here. As you can see, you've got them engraved, but these are a bit bigger than these flags, so I'm gonna have to hunt down some more, I reckon, because these are just too small. I believe they're gonna be too small. If you look here, and just for reference, on this model right here, you can see you've got ridges right here, kind of like little ridge like thing. On this model, it's smooth. That's just the way the Gambody design is, I reckon, as smooth. So I was kind of scratching my head trying to figure out what I wanted to use. But so I found this stuff, and I believe this is going to work out just fine. I believe this is going to work, yeah, like this. So you can kind of imagine what we're going to be dealing with, just like this. So I'll make a, it looks like I may have to put two together, and then I'll make a plate, and then plate it right on top. I won't have to do any hole drilling or anything. I'll just place them right on top. And these things, I believe, are going to be the ticket. I got lots and lots of plastic sheets. I think this is like .030 or something like that. I got tons of sheets. I got several of these sheets here for scratch building that I'm going to definitely need to use for scratch building, like counters and stuff like that. And then I got some PETG for windows, and also the sleep chamber clear panels. These are the seats that came with the file of the Icarus model. Now, if you look at it, this is just, it is what it is. This is not accurate. So I asked Gary Stair if he would possibly be able to print me out some of those spindrift seats of his that are so accurate, and he did. He was so nice about it, and I really do appreciate him for doing it. I gave him the measurements of these, and I wasn't sure if it was going to work, if I gave him the wrong measurements or whatever, but he absolutely nailed it. Check that out. So this is one seat here, and if you compare the two, they are identical, but this one's definitely much more accurate, but they are identical pretty much in scale that I can see. Now you can see that bendness right there, that's nothing. I will take a hot blow dryer to that, and that will just automatically, by blowing hot air on that, that will just like make it go like whoop. It's crazy how that does. But he sent me more than I actually needed, just in case. Sent 6 of these seats, so I only need 4, but out of the goodness of his heart, he sent me 6 of these beautiful things, so I'm really do appreciate him for doing that, and these are just going to take this model to the absolute next level. But this is the first thing I got to do. I've got to take this apart. I've got to take all this tape off and get this thing taken apart. You can see where it comes apart right here. I have got to wallow out some so as I can put this 1/2 inch or 1 1/2 inch PVC pipe inside it, because I've got to make an escape tunnel. Just like on this one, you can get an idea. So this has got a nice little escape tunnel on it. If you know Planet of the Apes and the Icarus, you know what I'm talking about. So that's what I'm going to use for escape tunnel, because this thing does not have one. Also, no, it doesn't have a hatch either, so we got to cut one of those out, and I've got several ideas of what I'm going to do about that. So let's get to cracking and getting this thing going, and see what we can do about this. So absolute first step, I'm going to cut an opening in there and see exactly what we've got to work with, so as I can see what I need to actually get rid of, so as I can put this pipe through. So you can see the reason why I didn't want to cut any of this out. If you look right in there, you will see those supports. This is what is holding this thing together. Without those supports, this thing would crush, most likely. So check it out. What I found out was, if I made my hole big enough, I was able to put my drill like that deep, so roughly about like that, and then the rest of it, I come back here. Once I start drilling out and start messing up those supports, they're pretty fragile, so they start kind of bending and breaking pretty easily. We are
Looking good so far. And now we need to cut out this nose hatch here. I found the perfect shape that I think will work, and that is this right here. So I'll basically put this like this, and then I'll trace over it. What this is a Tamiya can, for the record, is TS81 Royal Light Gray. Great paint, by the way. I cut it, you know, I made a cut right here so as I could compensate for these little raised areas here. And this is going to work just fine, so I will trace over this, because this circle is perfect. It's the perfect length of circle to use for the hatch. And now for the moment of truth. Okay, this is going to take absolute care and precision. That border right on the edge of the blue is what I'm looking at. What I'm going to do is do it little by little. I'm not going to try and reach that edge on the first try. I'm going to do it little by little. I'm going to get probably just on this side of the blue, and then I'll go back and trim off to the blue carefully. Okay, so this is what we are looking at. I exchanged this 1-inch PVC pipe from this 1/2 inch PVC pipe. This will do better. What I'm going to do is put this through here like this. We're doing a little bit of plumbing right now. A couple little ideas, because I'm going to end up closing off that opening a bit more. I'm going to close it back in just a little bit and make it a little bit tighter. What I'm going to do is cut this in half. Use a saw and just cut it in half, and then I'm going to put some handles. You got 2 sets of handles, 2 rows of handles on each side going like this, and then right here in the middle you've got a set of lights. And so if I open this thing in half, I'll be able to work in there and do what I need to do to get those handles etc on. So let me get that cut real quick. Alright, I got the PVC pipe cut in half, so now I can work on my detailed parts with putting light holes and also handles on 2 rows of handles here. But I was looking at this thing and see what was kind of fooling me. I don't know, I think this may be a bit fatter than it's supposed to be, because, see, I was going by at this space right here, and I was doing the same thing on this thing, and this thing is just whopping huge. And the hole needs to be like no bigger than this right here. So I'm thinking, I could be wrong, but I'm thinking that maybe this piece right here is a little bit fatter than it's supposed to be. I don't know, I think it has something to do with scale. I don't know, but it's just for some reason not matching. Because if this door, the equivalence of this, the width of this door is approximately like this, then it would be almost the width of this right here. So it's telling me that this thing's too fat. So that's why this thing is so big, because I was looking at even as big it is, and with the space you've got like what, how much? About that much. So I'll tone that down a little bit. I'll shrink it back down a little bit, and we'll see. I may can compensate a little bit, but we'll see. But anyways, I guess that's a design flaw? I'm not really sure. So this is the most perfect depiction of what the tunnel looks like. So you've got some lights going right in the middle, and then you've got some handles going right down, which is 5 handles and 5 lights. So I'm going to try to bestly I can to recreate that. This is, by the way, Mark Meyer's build. I use his build a lot for reference on, I think it's Fine Scale Modeler. Gorgeous model build he did. I'm telling you, it was absolutely fantastic, his build. But anyways, that was the crow's nest model. So once again, you can see the tunnels, and it looks like that the handles are staggered with the lights, not parallel with the lights. Parallel would be like right here. They're staggered, looks like, sort of like this. What I'm going to use for the handles is paper clips. I got several here. So I'm going to put the paper clip about like right there where that first ridge is on my needle nose pliers. And I'm just going to bend it down. And then I'll just simply cut it out like
that. And it will go something like that right there. Okay, so you can see basically what I did here is put on the handles. I didn't really want to try and drill into the PVC pipe itself. I wanted to make a nice little strip, so I cut 2 little strips here, as you can see, so as I can put my handles on the strips, and that way they'd be a lot more even when I cut it. It's just, I don't know, it's just a little bit easier for me. So what I'm going to do is put this strip here on this end. I'm going to use some super glue to do that with. Let that sit for a little while, and then I'll come back and put on the handles. I'm going to take some super glue and I'm going to put it inside those holes that I made. And then start putting in my handles. Instead of using this elbow as I had previously planned to put in here like this, and then the tunnel's gonna go out here, decided to use a T. So something like that. Okay, so you look through here and you got all that nice detail going through. But if you look through here, if you remember in the movie Dodge, I think his name was Dodge, when he crawled up this tube, he was right in here and there was an atmospheric processor. Here it is right here. Or the detail of the top of it right here, and the thing kind of shot up. The tunnel went out a little farther. It didn't bend up like this. See how it bends up? You had a little bit of extension, which I've got right here, and so it's going to go like this. I know that hole's crazy. We're going to fix that later. So as you can see, it goes in a little bit more. We're going to accuratize this a little bit more. So it goes in right about, goes in a little bit there, and the atmospheric processor was about right here somewhere. So I did a little bit of kit bashing. This piece is from a Proteus model. Right at the nose of it in the interior, there's a little scanner in the interior of the Proteus, and this is a little extra one that I had. I did a little bit of kit bashing. I put some little handles right here. So what this is going to do is I'm going to put this thing upside down in here and I think I'm going to extend it with tubing somewhat like this, and this tubing will actually act as kind of a connection point. And so you see the little light thing I made here on a tube. It's just going to be suspended on a tube. And then that hot glue, you can see it's made itself another little lens thing there, so that will definitely work. Alright, so here is the tunnel. This is the tunnel piece, so you can see right in there, and you can see the atmospheric processor in there. You can see it through here too. I think it looks pretty decent from what I'm wanting. But that will now, and I've got these 2 wires. This wires is for the illumination, and then that atmospheric processor light is gonna be connected to console type lighting. So this thing's gonna be divided into 2 lightings. So it's gonna be like that. So now I'm gonna put this liquid foam in between these little areas, so as I can, for one thing, seal this thing, fill it, and also reinforce this tube. I'm gonna put these gloves on for safety. So I'm just gonna do something like this, make sure it is centered, and it is centered. I'm just gonna start spraying it in there. Just be careful, because it is going to ooze. Stuff will expand quicker than anything. So I'll start off with that. Okay, to show you what I am doing, I am filling in the hollow of the inside with this foam. It's quite messy, but you can see how thick it is. This is how thick the thing is, but in between you got a very thin skin of plastic, and you can see, yeah, there you go. You can see the kind of the way this thing does the pattern of the chambers in there is kind of like honeycomb, almost like. And so you can, yeah, you see I'm filling in that part. I filled in that whole section pretty much. I got to do some more. But what I'm doing is, and this is extremely messy, I'm drilling little holes like this right here. There you go. You can see it's filling. Yep, see right there, it's filling up. And the reason again is for rigidity. I'm trying to get this thing pretty, because those are supports. Those honeycomb areas in there are like supports, but it's extremely thin, so I want to give it extra support since this is a pretty big model. Okay, I was debating on whether I was going to spare y'all the gore of model building or if I was just going to go ahead and show it to y'all, and I thought I would just man up and show it to you. So this is what we are coming up with. I wouldn't call this a mistake. I wouldn't call this a problem. I'd call this a result of a product that you use. I mean, anybody who uses this stuff knows that it's messy, and I'm so glad I've got this plastic here so I don't mess up my beautiful workbench. But yeah, this is what we're coming up with. So I had to drill a heaping of holes because, like I said, these things are kind of have a honeycomb type of design inside supports, in between the supports in the hollow spaces. And so you got little dividers that's going like this, and then you got dividers going like this, which kind of divides up different parts. And so I had to just drill several different holes to get it inside of those chambers. And this is nothing, honestly. I mean, watch. See, I just pull this off, do a little bit of sanding. It's hard doing one hand, but you get the idea. I just pull this off, do a little bit of hand sanding, and we're good to go. It looks worse than what it really is, but you can see over here, I have filled in my hatch here, so I'm going to clean this up, and I'm going to sort of fill that in and make that look more like a hatch piece right there. But that stuff did a great job in filling in that gap right here, so I fixed that. And then right here on that side you could see that's not filled right there, so I have to drill several holes and push my straw in there and just spray it away. But we come along. Oh boy, it's so funny. Alright, to show you what else I'm having to do is these sleep chamber walls right here. This little piece right here is not supposed to be here. It's just supposed to be, well, sort of like this. I cut this one out. But what I'm going to do is put sheets and plastic over it and make that look a bit smoother. That filament print's not easy to cut, especially when your bit starts getting really, really hot. It just melts. It just basically just melts the plastic. It doesn't cut through it or cut it. So, alright, so a quick jump ahead. This is about 2 weeks later. I've been working on this thing on and off. So as you can see, I've gotten pretty much the foam off that I pretty much need right now. It looks like this thing's got chicken pox or something, but it worked. That foam did its job. When I press, there's very little resistance. I mean, if you want to come right down to it, if you press with all your might, there is still some squishiness, just barely. I mean, it's foam, so, but that's where this XTC 3D is going to come in, and when I glaze it over, it should give it a good hard shell, and that should fix it. But just to give it extra support, that's what I wanted the foam for. Of course, we're going to get to that XTC way later from now. We got way too many giants to tackle before then. If you remember, I cut this out, and so I put some plastic there and got that filled in, and I think that looks really good. I'm going to put some filler primer on that, and that should start smoothing that out that much more. I know that putty, that red putty, just makes this thing look horrible and look like it's all lumpy and whatever. Once we get some filler primer on this thing, I don't think it's going to look quite like that. If it does, we'll fix it. We'll fix it. And here I'm slowly working on this. The opening, I cut it out a bit too far, and it was too flat right in here, so I had to do some building back up and then tapering
and then I puttied around to make that work. This is just the template that I used for that plastic base right there, and then the rest of it I just paneled over with plastic sheeting. But we're gonna get this thing, we're gonna get it. It's really looking good, it's really doing good, but there's so much work to this thing. But we pretty much got everything foamed up, so I think we're gonna be pretty good. Alrighty, so I got my seats painted. I like the way everything looks. It looks very nice. Again, those seats, you can't beat them. They remind me of the Randy Cooper Spindrift seats. If you remember, that's that kit that we used to have. Okay, so I want these things to spin because I believe I'll be able to reach my hand through the back door and be able to spin them. And just the fact that they are able to be rotated, the realism of it. So I want to put that feature inside this thing. So what I did was, as you can see, I have already cut this top off of here. I know this is a mess. We're going to clean that up. But there's one thing that keeps me from doing that with these. If you can see that the bases of these are rounded, and the bases of these, which are the original seats that came with this model, are kind of oval shaped, and they're meant to pop in there like that. I was trying to figure out a way somehow where I could possibly make it where these things turn, because they're not going to turn with these being oval with these holes. So what I've come up with is I'm going to take off this base like this. You can see I'm breaking it off right now. So there's that base. I'll take my Dremel tool with the disc cutter and just cut that off. Pretty flush. And then what I'm going to do is take this bit right here I've got on my Dremel, and I'm going to wallow this hole out. Something like this. I'm going to flip this thing over, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some plastic, a plastic sheet right over this piece right here, because you can see that is pretty thin. And if this is going to be resting on that, I want to make sure that it's pretty strong. So again, we're looking at structure. Okay, so I've got these nails right here. But anyways, I got heads on them, and that's what I want. I want heads on these things. So what I'm going to do is find out what size this is. Get my gauge here. When I do this, I always like to try to find the size down smaller. That way, if I have to, I can wallow the hole out. I can wallow the hole out. I cannot shrink it usually, so it's usually I'm usually best to do it that way. It's 332, which is right here, 332. And I'm just going to carefully drill a hole right smack in the middle. Gonna paint this base about the same color as the rest of the floor. So just gonna really quickly go over it. Okay, so I got my hole drilled, got these bases painted. So I need to shorten the length of this nail just a little bit. Because I want it tight.
want it tight up against here, and then when it hits on there, but it needs to turn, and that looks pretty good. Alright, I got some 5-minute epoxy here mixed up, and I am going to dump it right in that hole, and then just push it in, and we should be good to go, like that. And when that dries, that base should turn, making the chair able to turn. Okay, y'all, check it out. I'm gonna put these in there. Look at that. Look at how those things are fitting. Look at that. And then I'm gonna put these in like that. See, I'm able to spin them now. And it keeps the thing in place, and these things are gonna spin. When that glorious day comes, I'll just glue these things, pop those things in there like that, and they'll be permanently in there, good to go. It's gonna be beautiful. Those ovals was once used for fixed positions. I can use to keep locked in place so as I can let these things turn. Amazing. Oh, I like that. That's so cool. I'm getting really excited about this now. Alright, as you can see, I have gotten my hatchway all fixed up. So now all I gotta do is get a hatch cap or lid, whatever you want to call it. And this is not going to be very easy. The precision I'm going to have between that shape right there, that shape is going to have to be exactly perfect. So what I have got is a piece of PETG that I cut. I'm going to tape it something like this right here to keep it steady. And again, this is the only way I know how to do this. I don't know of any other real true technique. So I'm just going to carefully trace that out. Okay, so all this is going to be used for is a template for my real plastic. Alrighty, so with a lot of trial and error, a lot of fitting and sanding and things, I think I've just about gotten this template the way I need it to be. So what I'll do is transfer this shape onto plastic. So for the cap, I've decided to use this material. I'm not exactly sure what type of material it is. It is very thick material. It is some kind of plastic. I'm going to take a little bit of tape here and put it, say, right there so it does not slip when I'm making my marks. If I cut this correctly, this is going to be my hatch cap. I was thinking that I was needing to put some putty around the edges of this plate here. So, because I was afraid that, you know, I may have been a little missed the mark a little bit, but look at the edges. They are just about crisp and clean, just about. I've got a little place right here where it's raised. You can see, well, both sides. No, yeah, it's a little raised right here. What I actually did was I had put some Tamiya putty and I had built it up on one side because one side looked a little, this lip right here looked a little bit higher than this. So I built this up with some putty and to make them both even, but it looks like I'm gonna have to bring that down a little bit, which is no big deal. I just have to sand that putty back down. It helped perfectly. So what I've got to do now is I've got to do this part right here. I've got to connect this. All right, I got my marks measured out. Got the red mark here and red mark here. I'm gonna put my square like this. Get them on the mark. So you see these 4 red marks I made. I'm gonna put my hatch piece here and line up these marks with this line and then these marks with this right here. And that right there should be the piece that will go on here as the raised area to connect with this. So I put this little raised piece on here to stand up. What I've got to do is just glue this thing down. I'm gonna have to be extremely careful. I'm gonna have to put this piece on while it's on here. But the risk is accidentally getting glue up in those little seams right there and then gluing this door shut. So I got to be extremely careful. I'm gonna fill these little ugly places right here, and this little edge right here where it's very ugly looking. Kind of fill that in, make it look a little more complete with this Tamiya putty. And now I'm sanding off the putty just a little bit. So that is that. I'll place this in here. And that looks good. That looks pretty decent, but there's one more thing that I want to do that this thing needs. So this piece right here is flat, and these right here are rounded. You can see the difference. Yeah, see the difference? See how this kind of has a nice rounded bevel to it, and this is just completely flat. What I'm going to do is just layer this thing on with Tamiya putty and sort of layer it in such a way to where I'll make a kind of bevel. Alrighty, so there is the hatch. As you can see, I beveled it pretty decently to about the same shape as this piece right here, and I think it looks good. It's not as flat. It looks a little bit more contoured to be part of this piece. Hatch opens and then it closes. I've still got a lot of work to do. I've always got work to do. And I see I'm gonna have to build this up a little bit right here. I'm gonna figure out what I'm gonna do about building that part up. That kind of doesn't align too well with the hatch, so I'll figure out what to do about that. But other than that, we're doing really good. That is definitely one giant tackled, one of many. Haha.
Well, alrighty there, folks. That is going to wrap up this part 1 of this fantastic Planet of the Apes Icarus build that I am doing for myself. Until the next time I see y'all, not sure when that will be. We will continue with this Icarus build, and we'll go from there. I'm waiting for some parts to come in, so again, not sure how much longer the next video is going to be before I upload it, but it will be soon. So I guess I will let y'all go, and I will talk to y'all really soon. I want to thank you so much for supporting the channel. I want to thank you so much for coming on. We're having a good time. We're having a good time. So until I see y'all again, y'all please stay safe, take care, keep modeling. Be blessed, y'all, and I will see you on the next part 2, and we're going to do some more fantastic work on this huge Icarus build. Take care, y'all. See you soon.